Over the past few weeks, a number of people have asked me pretty much the same question, which essentially was, how do they know when their new shrimp tank is ready for shrimp? And in this video, I'm going to answer that question. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Richard and I'm a shrimp keeper based in the UK. So how do you know that your new tank is ready for shrimp? Well, let's start off with me saying we're not talking about the aquarium being cycled. It is important that an aquarium or an aquarium filter is cycled before you add shrimp to the tank, but that's not what we're talking about here. Now, if you're not entirely sure what cycling is or an aquarium being cycled, it essentially means there is sufficient bacteria present in the tank or in the filter to process any waste from the fish or the shrimp in our case. When fish or shrimp go to the bathroom, their waste is high in ammonia, and ammonia is really toxic to aquatic life. Fortunately, there are beneficial bacteria living in our tank, living in our filter, which convert that highly toxic ammonia to the slightly less toxic nitrite. There is another strain of bacteria which then take that nitrite to the far less toxic nitrate. Once you have a filter that can take waste from ammonia to nitrate, your aquarium is cycled. But that's not what we're talking about here. I can take a mature sponge filter from this tank, put it in my brand new shrimp tank, and that tank is cycled. But that's not the same as it being ready for shrimp. When we add shrimp to an aquarium, what they really need is biofilm. Biofilm is probably the most important food when it comes to shrimp. In fact, there have been studies that show shrimp in aquariums can live for months, if not longer, just on biofilm. Having biofilm in your tank when you add your shrimp is absolutely crucial. Even if you intend to feed your shrimp, you still need biofilm. Shrimp like to eat constantly, literally the whole time they will be eating. And typically you will see them picking at mosses and plants and the substrate and on the glass. And that's really the biofilm they are going for. So what is biofilm? Biofilm is essentially a mix of algae and bacteria and microscopic crustaceans that all come together to form an invisible layer, essentially, which if you pick up any piece of aquarium equipment or decoration, it always feels slightly slimy to the touch. It's almost slippery like a wet bar of soap. That's biofilm. Now the problem we have is you can't test for biofilm. You can't nip to your local store and buy a biofilm test kit. You can't look into your tank and go, oh, I've got 46 biofilm. It's now ready to receive shrimp. We need to find some other way to know that that biofilm will be there. Now, in my experience, the best indicator that biofilm will be present is actually when we start to see algae growing. Algae will naturally occur in any aquarium that has sufficient light. And I know everybody's, especially if you're new to the hobby, algae is the enemy. If you've got algae, you're a failure. Part of the problem with the hobby at the moment is we're all conditioned to watch these most amazing aquascapes. These guys who are phenomenally talented, who can build the most wonderful aquascapes without a speck of algae in sight. That's not real life. That's not real fish keeping. They are stunning. I love watching those kind of videos. But they're not the same as the aquariums we keep in our homes. The aquariums we keep in our homes, we have to have algae. Algae is a natural part of shrimp keeping or fish keeping. And algae is an amazing indicator that biofilm is there. I think I would dare go as far as to say, if you have algae, you have biofilm. So really the $1 million question is, how long between setting up your new tank and biofilm or algae being present? And that really is a kind of a piece of string question. In my experience, you want to wait at least 2 or 3 weeks. It may take longer from setting up that brand new aquarium before you start to see algae, you start to see life developing in that tank. Now you can cut that time down. You could take decorations, rocks, pieces of wood, etc. from another tank. You could take a clump of Java moss. You could buy live aquarium plants, not the sort that are sealed in the packet, but the sort that you go to your store and they take them out of a tank and you take them home, put them into your tank. That will bring in biofilm. That will bring in the starts of algae. In my experience, you don't even want to consider putting shrimp into your tank until you can start to see algae forming. And I get it, especially if you're new to the hobby, you've set up this brand new shrimp tank, you're super excited about getting the shrimp, and then some moron on the internet comes along and says, you've got to wait 2, 3, 4 weeks before you put anything in. But believe me, if you invest that time now, you will have far fewer problems further down the line. I think you'd be astonished how many people message me and say, Rich, I just bought 10 shrimp, I've had them 3 days, 6 have died, what happened? And when you start talking to people, it turns out they went to the store, they bought a tank, they bought the substrate, they bought the filter, they set it all up, a couple of days later, chuck the shrimp in, and of course, the tank is not ready for them. Never mind being cycled, the tank is not mature, it's not seasoned, it doesn't have life in it, biofilm in it, for the shrimp to eat. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind, if you set up a brand new shrimp tank, you need to leave that tank at least 2, 3, 4 weeks until you start to see life develop and you start to see algae forming on the glass, on the substrate, on the rocks. I'm not saying your tank has to be a thick mass of algae, but when you start to see that life, it's a perfect indicator that there will be biolife. And I think one of the places biofilm loves to develop is Java moss. And if you want to know how I grow so much Java moss, watch this video next. Thanks for watching.